So I'm taking a tour of my garden today, so welcome. I'm taking it as a personal record of what the garden looked like, so that 5-10 years down the line I'll have something that I can look back at and compare. It's February. It still feels like winter, but there are things emerging, so I want to capture that, what looks good in the garden right now, which really isn't much, talk about what I learned from last year and how I'm going to apply those lessons to the upcoming year. I'm really excited, honestly, this year I'm really excited because I have learned a lot and I have a better sense of my space. Let's go. It's very cold. I thought we'd start here, where I usually start, right here at the view from my front door. I have loved this view over the years, and it looks great in the spring. Today, it's a little threadbare, but I've got some seedlings popping up in my big planters. I've planted lots of greens here, some radish, and some sweet peas, so I'm looking forward to seeing those come up. There are canna and daffodil bulbs underneath that, so this planter should keep going for a while. So this is the main flower border. I've just really started building this up last year. I've got copper top viburnum, bridal wreath spirea, and a blue spruce over in the right corner, just to make up the hedge and give me a little bit of privacy from the road. And then here I have left all of this room to plant perennials. The idea is that this is what I see as I'm walking out into the neighborhood or walking to my car. So I really want it to be a very colorful, lush view. And then this is what the neighbors see as they're walking by. So I want them to have a little bit of a view as well. So I'm starting to add to this border a little bit more. The bridal wreath spirea, the color on them right now is really a saving grace because there's nothing else going on here in this hedge. And this is going to be covered in white flowers in the spring. So I'm noticing that my view from the front door is not nearly as interesting as the view from the street, which is great. I mean, that's okay. I would like a little bit more on my end, but at least I've got this. So let's take a slow walk. First, you'll notice the copper top viburnum, dead, and the bridal wreath spirea, bright green. I mean, that color. And so then we've got kind of an alternating repetition of bridal wreath spirea and copper top viburnum, and just below that a hedge of lavender is forming. My goal by the end of this year is to complete this lavender hedge. I really enjoy seeing the daffodils poking up behind that lavender hedge. When that starts blooming, that's going to look great. So this gives me a incentive to keep adding daffodils to this area, but this kind of peekaboo look of the daffodils peeking through some of that winter structure. This Colorado blue spruce in the corner has been showing some browning at the tips. I'll keep an eye on it. And then underneath that blue spruce, I've got some ajuga growing, and this is their first, this will be their first season. They were planted just before winter. So we'll see. Liriope, there's this hedge of liriope that creeps in from the neighbor's side, and I don't mind that because on the neighbor's side, it keeps back some of the weeds, and then as the ajuga fills out, that'll keep back some of the liriope. Here we go. Now we're getting a better sense of how the blue spruce is doing. Still lots of color, But you know, needle death is never a great thing. It doesn't really bounce back very quickly, so we'll see. Sometimes I'm really in awe about how much can grow in this tiny strip, this health strip. It's not truly mine, but I do take care of it. I like for it to look good. Right now, there's quite a bit going on here. So there are a combination of viola, dianthus, and Shasta daisies. There are also some daffodils poking up their head here and there. The viola were planted in fall, and that's the trick. So planting these in spring, they really don't get a chance to take off. And planting them in fall, I mean, they do die back a little, but not much. I mean, with that hard winter we had, we already are getting some blooms. So I've got some yellow flowers popping up, this little sweetheart here. Let's see, and I think, well, there's another one, another yellow flower just budding out. It's February, so in March I really expect for this to be just covered in flowers. Forgive my boots. These have really been through a lot with me, but I wanted to show you. I put this little path up to the sidewalk, and it makes it easier for when people park up next to the health strip to go back and forth. There's a lot more daffodil foliage further down the health strip. More viola, dianthus, and Shasta daisy are growing. Their foliage is showing, and they will take over once the viola and daffodils and dianthus die back. I don't know what this is, but there are plenty of seeds, and I'm happy to let them spread around. I'll put a picture of what it looks like in the spring so you can get an idea. And that's just the framework for a clematis that grows here later in the spring. And the other side of my hail strip, pitiful thing, but they're hanging on some daffodil. I really think I'm just gonna let the liriope take over here because nothing really does well here. So I'm gonna stop torturing plants. There's even some viola and dianthus planted here too, and I think a couple Shasta daisies, so I guess we'll see. Directly across from that is my driveway garden, and so you can see it's the other side of the driveway. This has been a pretty tough area as well, so I'm sticking to tough plants. We've got some blue rug juniper, a magnolia, Stella magnolia. There is a blue agave planted here, and this past winter it suffered. It was very small. And so all of the leaves died back. In fact, I think, I can probably just take the whole thing apart. And I'm hoping that the leaves will come back from the crown. So I'll just leave the crown in the soil and see what happens. But likely I'm gonna end up moving this plant from this spot and just let the blue rug juniper take over and put this somewhere else, maybe in a sunnier spot, a drier spot for next winter. Yes. It's pretty mushy, so. Right underneath one of my magnolia trees, I have some hyacinth popping up. And some more daffodil foliage. And this Madame Lemoyne lilac, it's got beautiful white flowers that I have yet to see. But I do have a lot of buds, so I'm hoping maybe this year. Next to the magnolias, pink buds. Pink blooms. This is gonna be quite a show when they really start showing off. And there's a stand of iris here, and I learned last year that these will start to bloom just before our last frost. So if I want to keep those blooms, I'm gonna have to cover them. So note to self. Well, all right, we'll check on this area later. We haven't really looked at this perennial border, so why don't we move this way? And in the front border, so I've got tons of daffodil. It's the tete-a-tete, and there's another variety here. If I can find the name, I'll put that up here. But they have really started blooming like so early. I mean, this is probably week 2. So I'm glad to have these. Another stand of iris, and these usually wait until after the first frost, or the last frost, but I'm not going to take any chances. I am going to cover them if they start to bloom. Okay, let's really get down here and look at this hyacinth. Or maybe, is this lily? These may be little lily seedlings. These are sedum. Planted in fall, so I haven't really seen them grow out much, so I guess I'll see them grow out this year. They're starting early. And there's a little yarrow seedling. There's some more sedum here. I'll probably be moving this around. Okay, so swinging around to just across the front border, this is a vista I'm really working on. So you've got the blue spruce in the back, hydrangea in the front. I'm working on the perennials underneath that. Definitely open to your suggestions, but I'm thinking maybe some like midnight blue salvia against that blue. Now if we turn around, there's a cute little path that will take you to the backyard. And on the way, you see this cryptomeria. She's a little small, but she's still so impressive to me. And then next door, some of that blue salvia I was talking about moving. There's an azalea here. What's this one called? Let's see if I can read the tag. Okay, so autumn lily. This area takes care of itself. I mean, there's this runoff from the gutter. I also throw a lot of things from the kitchen and like cuts from flowers in this area, so it's very rich. You can see the heuchera are enjoying this spot. They are new from last year. Some gardenia were transplanted here in fall of last year too, so they are adjusting. I need to take care of this. A good friend helped me out with this, patching some rotted wood, but I still need to caulk and paint over here. So, you know, I'm showing you guys everything. Everything. It's including this awfully wet area. This path I love, but it's so wet, and I hate walking through here in the summer with all of the mosquitoes. So I'll add stones to create a path here, maybe control some of that water, and hopefully cover up some of that bare soil with thyme in between the stones. Here's a nice vista. I like this view a lot. On my right side, I've got another hedge that gives me some privacy from the neighbor, so let's look at that. Another magnolia. This one is doing so well over here. I wonder if it's because it gets a lot more protection in between our homes. And it's gonna have to grow like straight up, because look where my neighbor parks, like right next to it. And I've been doing a really good job of just making sure it's not encroaching in their space. And then you can see there are tons of buds on this tree. And behind that, the rest of the hedge is pretty much made up of these Chinese snowball viburnum. Again, another big plant, but I'm going to be pruning and maintaining this plant to create sort of like a freestanding espalier. I mean, it's going to be pretty slim. I'm going to choose 2 or 3 main branches on all of these plants, including this magnolia. And then I'm going to choose branches that are going straight up, creating that upright structure. I'm really excited about this hedge. I just think it's gonna look so great covered in white flowers. And can I just say that I'm so glad to have your company on this tour. And I hope that you'll stay tuned to see how things shake out If you are enjoying this tour, please share, subscribe, like, and comment. Let me know what you think, and if you have any ideas. I'm still learning, so I appreciate any ideas you can throw my way. That's it, you guys, for the front garden tour in February. Come back to see what the backyard's looking like this time of year, and then how the garden grows in future months. I'll see you soon.